The first thing you should never do when going down with a woman on my list today is handle her roughly. My kings, you should never handle a woman roughly unless she asks you specifically to do that. You should always take care when you're going down with a woman. Handling a woman roughly is definitely going to take away from the moment and not make that moment memorable for that woman. She might go home having pains and never wanting anything to do with you again. And that is not what you should do as a king. You should handle every woman you go down with as a king that you are. And that is why you should make sure that you take things very slow, handle her gently. Yes, you can go hard, but do not go rough. There's a difference between going hard and going rough. Going hard means you are doing your thing as the king that you are, taking charge and dominating, especially when the woman even requests that you go harder or deeper. But when in the other case you're being rough, that means you're handling her in a way that doesn't settle well with her. Maybe you're tossing her around too much, or you are doing things that are hurtful to her down there. And when you do that, it is not going to be enjoyable for the woman. And I want to believe you want the woman to enjoy the moment as much as you are as a king. So yes, handle a woman in a manly way, but not roughly. Another thing you should never do when going down with a woman is force your way in. Now, my kings, this is why it is very important that you make sure a woman produces enough water down there before you go in. And also, if you notice that the woman is very tight, you have to make sure she has produced enough water to let you go in smoothly before you go in. And you also have to make sure you take it very slowly, because most times, because she's tighter down there, if you push yourself in, you are going to hurt her. And that is why it is important that you make sure she produces enough water and you take things very slow. And also, if you notice that she hasn't produced enough water, or she's not able to produce enough water to let you in, then you have to make sure you get aids to help you water there enough before you go in. I know you know what I mean, my kings. The whole point is you have to make sure that she's ready to receive you before you go in, because if you don't, you are going to end up hurting her, and that is definitely going to take away from the moment and not make it enjoyable for her. And at the end of the day, when you hurt her, she might never want anything to do with you again. I actually saw a post where a lady mentioned that she had something to do with a guy who actually hurts her down there. And at the end of the day, she doesn't want to see him again. She doesn't want to have anything to do with him again. So that is why it is important as a king that you make sure you don't force your way in, or you also make sure that she's ready to receive you before you go in. Another thing you should never do when going down with a woman is bite her. Now, my kings, when you are doing your thing, either with your lips around her nips or you're going down on her, you have to make sure that you're not biting her. Even if you give some soft bites, like I mentioned, soft bites, it has to be around the nips and they have to be very, very soft. If not, it is better you don't even try biting at all. If you don't know how to do it softly, it is better you don't do it, because at the end of the day, you end up hurting her, and that is going to take away from the moment, because that's not the goal of the going down. The goal is to make sure that both of you have a good time, pleasurable moment. That's why you have to make sure that you're not biting either her nips or down there when you are going down on her. Another thing you should never do when going down with a woman is have divided attention. Now, my kings, I am not saying you should stay completely focused on what you're doing, because most times when you do that, it will get you there quickly. But what I mean in this case is having divided attention, where maybe you are texting while you are doing your thing or you are doing something else. It's like your woman can see that you are focused on something else instead of what the both of you are doing. This is because it's going to take away from the moment and make her feel really bad. She's going to think that whatever it is you're doing is more important than her. It's like you're not even valuing that moment that you're having with her. And that is really going to be very hurtful to her, especially if it is your woman, like your woman, someone you're dating, someone you're married to. That is definitely going to hurt her. And though she might not be able to say it to you, she would really go home feeling really bad. That's why you have to make sure that you don't have divided attention when you're doing your thing. Focus on what you're doing. Don't be too into it, but also make sure that you don't show her that you're distracted by other things. Now, the last thing you should never do when going down with a woman on my list today is continue when she's dried out. Now, my kings, when a woman is dried out down there, when you're doing your thing, you are going to be hurting her instead of pleasuring her, which is not something you want to do, which is why it is important that the moment you notice that she's drying out down there or she's dried out, you need to stop and look for ways to make her produce water before you continue. Or if she says to you that she's dried down there, please pay attention to that. Make sure to stop and get her to water up before you continue. Because if you continue without her watering up, it is just going to be a disaster. She's going to feel hurt instead of feeling that pleasure, that enjoyment that you want to give to her. That is why it is something you should pay attention to. So that's it for this video, my kings. Please do let me know if you found this video interesting and informative as well. Do well to subscribe if you haven't done that already. Turn on the notification bell, like this video, drop a comment down below, share this video with your family and friends, and see you in the next one. Bye.